Are you ready to be made beautiful by God? Hey, beautiful. Welcome to Made Beautiful Podcast. This podcast is designed to help you see yourself as God sees you, fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm your host, LaQuavia Chambers, but you can call me Coach Quay because I'm here to encourage, inspire, and motivate you to be everything God is calling you to be. As a wife, mother, business owner, and women's ministry leader, I know from experience that life can get real ugly. I hope you'll join me on this podcast journey, and together we'll use the Word of God to help us navigate the ups and downs of life with compassion, wisdom, and even a little bit of humor. Get ready to be made beautiful by God. Hello. Hey, ladies. Welcome to the Made Beautiful Podcast. My name is Pastor LaQuavia Chambers, or you can call me Coach Quay. I am the founder of the Made Beautiful by God community. And of course, you can find us at the www.madebeautifulbygod.com website. Today, I am continuing the series of What Would You Do When It's Already Done? Now, those of you who watched the last series, you already know that we are talking about what would you do. The scenario we use is what would you do if someone came up to you and said, here's a store and you have the grand opening in 1 or 2 weeks from now, what would your next step be? The last podcast we talked about knowing who God is, getting, remembering who God is and being able to walk in faith. This segment, we're going to be talking about set yourself up for success. We're going to continue to talk about set yourself up for success. Walking in faith, being grounded in faith, and knowing who God is. Those are parts of setting yourself up for success. And then we're going to talk about some more things. So when you're talking about this store, this thing that God is getting ready, or somebody came to you to give you, we are getting our mind prepared for God blessing us. Because this is a season where I don't know about you ladies, but I have been hearing that God wants to bless us. He wants to open doors for us. And in this season, we are preparing for these blessings. Now, setting yourself up for success is all about laying the foundation, making sure that that foundation is strong, because we know how God works. If that foundation is not built and it's not strong, then He is not going to put more on it. He's not going to build on a wobbly foundation or a foundation that can't handle more things, because God does not, He's not in the business of a one-time thing. Like he's not, that's not his business. He loves to build where there's stable ground. So we're trying to make sure that the foundation we have is stable. And of course, we have to do this work with God. We have to make sure that the foundation we have, God can continue to build and He can continue to add on. And while He's adding, we're in the right space, the right place we need to be in. So for me to tell you all about building this foundation, I came up with 4G areas. So the first G area is getting your mind right. Then we have the second one, get in position. The third one, get organized. And then the fourth one is gaining awareness. Now, we're going to talk about getting your mind right first. When we're talking about get your mind right, what are we saying? We're saying thoughts and your beliefs, just the way you feel about certain things. The way we're feeling about things, the way we think about things and our beliefs, those things control our actions. So we need to take control of certain thoughts in order to be successful in what God is calling us to do, because God gives us the power to take control of thoughts. Just because a thought comes to your mind, that doesn't mean that it has to control the way you move in life. You have the power to take control of things. So like God is blessing us. And a lot of times we don't feel worthy. And most times we don't feel worthy because we're not. You know, God does this because He loves us and He favors us. But what we are is qualified, because those He called, He qualifies. So we have to get in the mind frame of knowing that if God said that we can do something, or if He called us to something, we're qualified to do it. We're qualified to carry it out. And no one can do it the way that we can. So getting your mind right is coming into the knowledge and the wisdom of how to carry yourself when you know you qualify because God said so. And then also remembering that the way you think is going to control your actions. So if you feel like you can't do something, guess what? You're not going to try. If you feel like this is too hard, you're not going to try. You're not going to continue to push because this is the way you're thinking. There's two mindsets that's out there. Is one fits and one growth. It's as simple as that. Fits or growth. Fixed mindset believes, okay, I was born, this is a trait that I have or a talent. So maybe I'm good in that but if I wasn't born with it, then I'm not going to be good at it. A growth mindset is, I wasn't grown. I wasn't born with these talents and these abilities, but if I continue to practice and continue to put time in it, then I would be good at it. I will get better at it. So we want to make sure we always have a growth mindset when it comes to everything that God had calling us to do. Okay. So we want to embrace growth, embrace the challenges. The next one we're going to talk about is get in position. Now, when you're talking about getting in position, I talked about in a workshop that we have going on right now. It's a 3-month long workshop. So if you all are interested in at least getting in on the coursework for that, go to the website www.madebeautifulbygod.com and go to the coaching session. Under coaching, you'll see courses and you'll be able to register for those courses. And I will let you know if you're in time for the group coaching. Okay. So anyway, so getting in position, I'll use the boxer. So if you have somebody, a guy or somebody trying to become a boxer, what happens is when they go fight, they have to have a certain type stance. And this is what we have to have in God. We have to have a certain stance because when you're setting yourself up for success, you're automatically walking into a situation knowing God is trying to bless me. And because God is blessing me, then the enemy is angry and he's coming to steal, kill, and destroy. So you're trying to make sure that you are in a place where you don't get moved by the attack. So, like a boxer, his stance has to be on point. So, what a coach may do is have him build up these muscles that control his stance. So, he might have to build up, do squats or do them with weights and things like that. So, when he's hit, he's not moved easily. And that's what God has to do with us. Sometimes it takes us a little longer to get there, and it's because God is working on that stance that we have in faith. When the enemy comes, we are already aware that he's coming. We're already aware of attacks that we might encounter and go through, but that stance has to be on point to where you might feel it. You're going to feel when you get hit. Okay, you're going to feel that, but God don't want us to move or stumble when we do get hit or when the enemy comes, because guess what? Everything that we've been through, every experience, every pain, every laughter, every tear that we shed prepared us for this moment. It prepared us for the position, for the stance that we have to have when God is adding more to the plate, when He's ready to pour out the blessings, when He's ready for us to walk in a calling. Okay. So that's your position, making sure you're standing in faith, making sure you're remembering everything that you went through, and making sure that you remember who God is in this moment when these attacks comes and what God is saying about you. getting organized. We're talking about getting organized, we are talking about in your timing, making time for God. Because when God is pouring out blessings and He's calling us to do something extra, it's a few excuses. I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think I'm worthy. I don't think I'm qualified. Now, we're getting the qualified thing out the way now, and I don't think I have the time. Well, God is saying, make the time. This is as simple. Make the time. It's so many times in my life where I felt like I didn't have the time to do extra things. I didn't have the time. And um, God has shown me how to do this. So when you are making time for God, that means you have to organize everything that you're doing, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling that you can't do something, you need to go look at all that you're actually doing. Because sometimes we're feeling like we don't have the time and we have so much on our plates because of the way we're thinking. Sometimes we're thinking about so many things we have to get done rather than actually completing those things. So we need to go and organize these things by writing it down. Write your to-do list down by breaking it down how many times you need to work on those things, and then transferring it to a place where you can see it like a calendar. And then when you write down these things you have to do them, and then be consistent. And one way I look at consistency when organizing your time is create routines. So like if you want to say work out. If I want to work out, I'm going to work out on specific days. So every day looks about the same. So Monday, Wednesday, I'm going to work out. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to work out. So next week, if I don't have my calendar, I don't have my to-do list, I know that my routine has to include working out. If I want to work on the calling that God has for me, I'm going to put that down on a today where I have time, I made time, which is Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Then I know Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, this is what I'm going to be working on. So when you're making time, you need to organize all the tasks, all the duties that you have to do by priority. Start with priority and work yourself down. Then look at the tasks that you're putting on your list and say, do I really need to do this today? One example I use is if you know that you cooked dinner yesterday and you have enough leftovers for today, then eat the leftovers and use that time for something else. Even as ladies, we can get so caught up in, you know, looking pretty and how we feel, sometimes putting on makeup for hours is not going to cut it in a day. That means we need to find, is this a day where I can go on with a little foundation, blush, and mascara? Is this a day where I can be chilled makeup? Because I ain't gonna tell you not to wear makeup, but just something a little bit more simpler so it doesn't, even cleaning. I usually clean, for those of you who clean walls and you want to clean them weekly, can I go this week without cleaning that wall and do walls monthly? Like, is that possible? So really think about what you're putting in your calendar, on your tasks and your to-do list, because there's certain things that's more pressing than others. So we need to organize that time and make time for God and stop using time as an excuse. So after getting organized, we want to gain awareness. Now, I like gaining awareness because this is a place where I get questions or get told, I don't know what to do. I don't know what God is calling me to do. I don't have this big idea, or I have all these ideas and I don't know which one to work on, and I don't know, you know. So gaining awareness is all about taking a look within, and you're doing this with God. You're taking a look and you're saying, okay, what are my passions? And sometimes you have core passions, and this my thing. Like, you have core passions and you have things that, oh, this is a passion for this season, but it may not be a passion for that season. But those little passions still stem from those core passions. So for instance, I like helping people. Okay. But in the season, I wanted to do event planning. So I tried that. Event planning wasn't the main passion, but it was something that I enjoyed doing. And it stemmed from helping others. So you want to sit down, look at your passions, think about some strengths you have, your skills and experiences, and then you want to compare your passions with the strengths, skills, and experiences to see what you would be good at. You know what I mean? So if your passion is helping others, you have a strength of um, problem solving, then you have a skill at um, it could be anything, a skill at talking to others, coaching others, or something like that. And then experiences could be maybe you're doing good on building websites. Well, that could be a coaching job or something like that. So you want to compare your passions to your skills and experiences and your strengths to see what makes sense to you, see what God is saying to you in those things, and then build your ideas from those things. Okay. And pray about it. Always include God. So when you think of being just awareness is becoming more aware of what God is saying about you, of what you like doing, or what, those type things. So all these steps are setting you up for success. Is building this foundation, because one thing about it too, when you become aware of everything like passions, and then you compare that to your strengths and skills and things, it builds confidence in you. It goes back to you knowing that you're qualified to do what God is calling you to do. So I felt this for my what I'm doing now. Now, when I didn't align passion, skills, experiences before I got to where I was, I did not do that. But I'm gonna tell you right now, since I didn't do that, I did not feel as confident. I always felt, should I be doing this? Should I? You know what I mean? I know some people are saying I'm good at it. I'm feeling like I'm good at it, but I didn't have this confidence. But when I went back to do these activities where I'm doing my passion, skills, strengths, and then I'm comparing them, then I'm like, oh God, I am qualified. I see why you called me to do this. And not only am I qualified to do this, I enjoy doing it. So you're becoming aware of your own personal thoughts and feelings, and then aligning that to God and His will and His purpose for you. So I just want to encourage your hearts today, just to remind you that when God give you something, it's important to set yourself up for success, to dig deep, to look inside of you, to figure out where you are, how you feeling. Are you really prepared? Because we're praying for blessings, but we don't take the time to say we're prepared for this blessing. Thank you for spending time with me today. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram at CoachQuay22. Also, check out my website at www.madebeautifulbygod.com. I'll see you next time.